What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your man ChazzEllis once again, and I'm live. So let me get everybody on in here. Let y'all get on through. I'm gonna give my shout outs. If you in the building, say what's up to your man ChazzEllis. If you haven't told me where you're from yet, tell me where you're from. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about conflict resolution. We're going to go all over the place, but I'm going to talk about some conflict resolution. How to deal with family members, how to deal with friends, how to deal with conflict in general. How to deal with all of that. So we're going to talk about that today. But first, let me see who's in here. I'm giving shout outs. What's up, Lulu? I see you. What? The first one to get up in here and say what's up. That's what's good. Lovely day. All right. Who else is up in here? Hit me with a thumbs up. Hit me with a show some love. All of that. Today I'm going to be talking about conflict resolution. This is conflict resolution in relationships, conflict resolution in friendships, conflict resolution when you walking down the street, conflict resolution when they get your order wrong at the restaurant and you mad as hell. You feel like you just got played. What's happening, Maze? Love you too, and I love you back. What's happening with everybody? I want to make sure y'all get up in here, and I'm going to shout everybody out as they come through. Some people going to be coming in a little bit late, I see. Come on now. If you in here, say what's up. Also hit that like button as soon as you get up in here before we get started. What's up, Tish? How is everybody? We good here. We good up in here. That's what's up. All right. Everybody getting in here, and I'm showing love when you come through. If you in here, make sure you put the thumbs up button, send me something, a heart, a handshake, show me some love. What's up? Jamie, I haven't seen you before, I don't believe. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can really read this stuff right here. Let's see. Oh, wow. You want to get it back in blood? Oh, no. Oh, what's up, JoJo? What's up, Ariana? What's good, Jazz? Much love. What's up, Maya? Is it Vanina? I be messing up people's names. For people who don't know, I mess up people's names. So if you can spell it out phonetically for me if I mess it up one time, I'll start getting it right after some point in time. The struggle is real. Oh, yeah, I think I have. It's a lot of people up in here, so you got to be in here a few times, and then I'll start kind of getting exactly with who you are. I'll remember you. We're talking about conflict resolution today. Different types of conflict resolution, different situations, what to do when you have conflict, how to figure out whether it's worth it to fight the situation or to just walk away. Laya, what's good? I see you. We still rolling on in here, and we still giving out shout outs. What's up? We're going to take our poll today. As we normally do. Let me get my pen. We're going to take our poll today as we normally do. And we're going to see what's what. Last time we did Boys to Men versus New Edition, and it was 50-50. We did Mariah Carey versus Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston got it by a landslide. Whitney got it. I will always love you, Whitney. Whitney got it. Whitney got it. So now, before, if some of y'all probably don't remember, we did Michael Jackson and we did Prince. Michael Jackson got that by a landslide. So we going through. We're gonna try some more people. We're gonna try some different situations and see what folks think. Right now, we're gonna do movie time. We're gonna do a movie. How about the best man, the original best man, versus the Wood? The best man versus the Wood. All right, we're gonna vote on that one today. We'll keep track of that. The best man versus the Wood. If you haven't seen the movie, don't even worry about it. We got some more things for you. I'm gonna put some more stuff out there for you, just in case you haven't even seen that movie. All right. We also do this one. Let's do this one too. I'm gonna put that. Okay, we'll do the best man versus the Wood. Then I got another one for y'all. We'll see what y'all want to do with that. The Wood is winning. Dang, the Wood got the best man. Like, okay. I see you. Okay, so it's starting to come back around. We'll see if that's going to be a 50-50 or what. It's 2 a.m. where you at? Dang, man, you coming through like a soldier. I see you coming through like a soldier. Is that Maya? I think I'm messing it up. Damn. Got to be more careful. I got to be more careful. All right, we're going to talk about this conflict resolution. All right, conflict resolution. Now, the thing about conflict is it can happen at any time. It can happen without you really thinking about it. It can happen without you really causing it. It can happen with any person. You can get in a conflict with a 5-year-old. You literally can. You can find yourself in a conflict with a 5-year-old. It happens all the time. Conflict can pop up on you at a baseball game. You could be a kid's baseball game. Conflict can pop up on you at a skating rink, a wedding, a family reunion. Conflict can pop up on you at any time. What's up, Peaches? Conflict can pop up on you at any time, any place. And you have to have pre-programmed responses to it in order to not find yourself in a bad situation. That's how conflict works. So, when we have conflict, the first thing we need to do when you run into a situation of conflict, the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, is it worth it? I'm going to give you a few examples and a few situations. You get into a conflict. You're trying to sit down on a park bench or something like that. You get up off your seat for a second, somebody just scoot right in there and they start sitting down. This is a conflict situation where you like, damn, I was sitting there, you just jumped in my seat. This is a moment in time where you have to ask yourself, at this point in my life, is this worth this conflict? Because it's really easy to get sucked into a conflict, and sometimes it isn't worth it. This probably is a situation for you where it's not worth it. But what ends up happening is because you didn't think about it ahead of time, and because you really haven't thought what you should do in situations where conflicts are not worth it, you might find yourself getting sucked in initially. So you go, when you figure out the conflict's not worth it, what does that mean to you? Does that mean you walk away? You say like, dang, so anytime it ain't worth it, I just totally walk away, let them take my seat? Or is it a situation where you say something and then you say, I'm not going to engage in any conflict if it doesn't go anywhere? So you might be like, oh, I was sitting there. If they be like, tough luck, I'm sitting there. This is the moment where you get caught into ignorance. This moment right here. When you say, yo, I was sitting in that seat, and that person comes back and says, so what? My seat now, punk. This is a moment. What's up, Marvin? This is a moment. What's up, Sherelle? This is a moment where you get caught in the conflict. This is a moment where you start finding yourself in a silly ass conflict, not even over the seat anymore, but over the disrespect that came after you just simply said, yo, this was my seat. But this is when you have to remember that the original conflict isn't worth it. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times we get into the conflict because we feel disrespected, but we're not remembering that the original conflict, the original thing that we were going to be in a conflict over, isn't worth it. Start asking yourself this question: what do I gain? If you start living by this philosophy of what do I gain, you'll be surprised how much crap you'll find yourself out of. And so if we get into it over this seat, I'm going to be like, what do I gain? What do I gain? What do I gain by getting into this getting into it with this person over this park bench? What do I gain? Do I gain some money over this? Probably not. Am I probably even going to end up sitting on the seat? Probably not. If I tussle in the grass with this person, am I going to mess up my pants? Am I going to end up with grass stains on my shirt? What do I gain from this conflict? These conflicts can get so far out of control, you find yourself in a situation where you are now fighting as a grown-ass civilized person over a park bench. Do you ever think that people who get into this stuff, like you ever go to court? I used to work as a police officer, as some of y'all know. And what'll happen sometimes is you'll see people in court who are extremely normal people. I mean, they work good jobs. They have education. They have families. But you'll see somebody who is a normal person into it with the most ignorant person that they can. These people don't even seem like they would even know each other. In most cases, they don't. A situation arises, you just can't take it anymore. You feel like everybody is treating you like a sucker, and boom, you're in a conflict. This can happen in so many different ways, in so many different situations. You can be in a relationship and find yourself breaking up over somebody leaving the cereal box open. You can find yourself breaking up over Instagram. You can find yourself breaking up over somebody saying they didn't like the potato salad at the family reunion. Now y'all broke up. This is what happens when you never figure out what's worth it. What's up, Des from London? This is what happens when you never really find out what's worth it. When you never put yourself in a situation where you say, well, what's worth it? What's worth conflict? What's worth it? Is it worth it for me to argue with somebody I care about over potato salad? Is it worth it for me to argue with somebody I care about over closing the cereal box? Is it worth it for me to argue with somebody I care about over Instagram pictures? Is this worth it? Because if you don't feel like it's worth it, then the outcome is going to become unbearable. If y'all break up over the cereal box, then you're going to be sitting there going, damn, man, I wish I just wouldn't have said nothing about that damn cereal. Because it was never worth it in the first place. The outcome is going to be too much for you to take if it goes left. You got to ask yourself before you decide if a conflict is worth it, is it worth it if it goes left? Is this worth me never talking to this person again? Is this person worth me getting into a fist fight? Is this worth me going to jail over? Is this worth me getting sued over? Is this worth me losing my job over? This is what you have to think about when you get into a conflict. Once you've decided that it's not worth it, then that means you have to know when to disengage. But every once in a while, guess what? It is worth it. Sometimes you're arguing with somebody over your kid's school. Sometimes you're arguing with somebody over your money that you need from your paycheck or you need to pay your bills with. Sometimes you're arguing with somebody over your property. Sometimes you're arguing with somebody over just being disrespected in a relationship. Sometimes you're arguing with somebody over something that is really important to you, and yeah, it does matter. It's like, you know what, if I didn't talk to you again, I can't take this level of disrespect because it's real disrespect, not just something that I decided, to call disrespect because I'm mad. No, I really can't take it. This is when you decide it's to that level, this is when you got to start looking at conflict resolution and how to deal with it. So when you go into a situation that you feel is worth it, the first thing you want to do is give a person a chance to understand what the conflict is about. So if I'm going into a conflict, like for instance, we'll say you in a relationship with somebody, they're talking to their ex. This is a conflict that you may really feel uncomfortable with. You may be like, you know what? If this is what you're going to do, I'd rather just not even be in this relationship. So I'm willing to go into this conflict saying no matter how far left this goes, this is a battlefield that I'm willing to die on. It's that important to me. So if that happens and you say, okay, first thing I want to do is I want to give you a detailed understanding of why I'm upset about what's happening here. Calmly, don't accuse the person of anything. Talk about what actually happened. So, hey, I just want to say, I saw when you was talking to your ex, something I wasn't really cool with. I'm just letting you know, I'm not saying you were doing anything. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying I'm uncomfortable with that. That makes me uncomfortable. And then you give the other person an opportunity to actually explain where they're coming from without you interrupting, without you saying a damn thing back. Actually listen. Don't listen to respond. Don't sit over here and be like, okay, I already got what I want to say in my mind. Okay, I'm going. If they say this, I'm going to say that. No, actually sit there. Listen to every single thing that they have to say. Word for word. Okay. I understand where you're coming from. And when you listen to somebody, you actually have to give, people talk about active listening all the time. This is when you listen and you really show the person that, hey, I am paying attention to you, where you rephrase some of the things that they say. You actually listen, you take it in, you go, sometimes you concede points. Okay, I get where you're coming from. This gives a person an opportunity to feel like y'all are actually having a dialogue. Finding where somebody talked to their ex on the phone and you going, you was talking to your ex, man, I can't stand that. F you, F them. If you want to do that, you can get out the house. I don't need this, blah, blah, blah. The person just really shuts you out and they just want you to shut up at that point. So now nothing is being accomplished. Even if they do stop doing it, they're probably going to start doing it again because it's not like they ever came to an agreement that was something that they didn't want to do or something they shouldn't do. So you got to understand, you have to actually listen and give them an opportunity to explain where they're coming from. Give them an opportunity to explain why they did what they did. Give them an opportunity to talk about what's going on in their life, what's going on in your life, why they talk to their ex or why they talk to a friend or, any of those type of things. Give them an opportunity to explain where they're coming from. Once you've done that and you've explained where you were coming from, now at some point you guys got to come to some kind of an agreement on what's happening. So if it's a situation where they're talking to their ex, you got to say, what can I take? Can I accept that this will happen again? Or is it like a deal breaker? If you know it's a deal breaker, then there's no real negotiation. It's just people explaining their point. Once you've explained your point, you got to go, look, this is something I just can't deal with. So it is what it is. I understand if that's not what you want, but it's either this way in this situation or it's out. I'm out. And from there, they can make a decision. Normally what ends up happening in those type of situations is it's a lot easier to work the situation out and you kind of figure out where you stand in that relationship because you went through the proper channels to resolve the conflict. Now you know where you stand in the relationship. If you started off going off on the person, they gonna buck up just because you're going off on them. So now you don't even know whether or not they're actually upset about the way you came at them, or if it's just that they don't care enough to adjust their behavior. Now you end up with unfinished business, which is the leading cause of obsession. When you come at somebody sideways, you're always left wondering what would have happened if you would have came at them calmly, respectfully, and you would have treated them the way you wanted to be treated in that same situation. If you come at somebody with the respect, then you don't have to think like that. If you come at somebody, you give them a chance to talk, you hear them all the way out. Now they can't come back later and say, oh, well, really, this is what I wanted to say. Now you know, okay, I know where you were coming from because I listened to you. I paid attention to every word. I let you talk and let you have your moment. And now from there, I realized that we just there was a conflict and an impasse. And I was like, nah, I ain't with it. This is something you can do when you're talking to anybody. When you got relatives that you're dealing with, they owe you money. You got relatives you arguing with about something. What you do is you say, where's the line in the sand that I'm just not willing to cross? Where's the spot where I'm like, nah, I can't go no further than this? And where is it to where it's not even worth the conflict? I have witnessed people break up a whole family over $50. We're talking about a conflict that was worth about $100,000 that ended up breaking up the family over $50. It's like they got down to $50 and somebody was like, nah, man, I can't, it's like, damn, somebody could have took $50 out of their pocket and just and just made it work. But I've seen deals fall apart because of things like that too. Because people become stubborn and people say, you know what, I'm not going any further than this, and they haven't made any compromises yet. So what you want to do is you want to say, okay, what's worth just letting this whole situation break down over, and what's worth fighting for? Once you figure that out, now you can do everything in between. Now you can have a conversation and figure out where you want to go from there. All right. So let's look. I have not seen one sticker yet. What's up with the stickers? What's up with the likes? And where are my super chats? What's up? Where's the super chats? Where's the likes? Where are the stickers? Let me see what kind of stickers y'all got today. We had birthday cake last time. We had hippopotamuses dancing. What we got now? Let's see. What's this? What's up, Taj? Thank you, Chaz. Explanations and logic are so needed and respected. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what's up. We on the board now. Who's next? Who's got next? Going back to these conflicts. If you go back in your life and you think about most of the situations that you've had serious conflict about, you almost always look up and say it wasn't worth it, or it wasn't as important as what ended up happening. Most of the time that's because you may have cared about whatever you were upset about at the time or whatever was going on at the time, but it's the way you handled the conflict that made you feel like it wasn't worth it. It made you feel like you probably should have just let it go. Sometimes you may have legitimate beefs, but it's the way you go about it that makes it to where you can't really get any kind of resolution to the conflict. You know, if you got a legitimate beef with somebody, but you go into the situation standoffish, you don't really listen to the person. Listening to somebody isn't just for them, it's for you also. Because a lot of times when you listen to somebody's explanation or what they got going on, it tells you whether or not it's even worth it to deal with that person in the future. Sometimes a person really doesn't know what's happening in a situation. Sometimes they really don't know that what they're doing is hurting you. Sometimes they really don't. It can be a real mistake. This is a legal defense. If you go to court, normally what they try to do is they try to figure out if what happened in the situation was a mistake, something done in malice, or just something done because they wanted to make some kind of personal gain. And there are different levels to how these things are punished. So you have to look at it that way when you're dealing with people. Hey, was this done in malice? Was this done because the person just doesn't know any better? Was this done because it's a mistake and they just, they didn't mean to do it? Or was it done just because they were trying to make some kind of personal gain for themselves? These are things you might want to take into consideration whenever you see a conflict coming, and take that to decide how you deal with the conflict. You have to deal with conflict a lot more aggressively when it's done in malice. When it's a mistake, you don't need to be aggressive at all. When it's something done for personal gain, you just got to show the person where, hey, you're not going to gain from doing this to me. And a lot of times that will cause a situation to just cool down on its own. When people think, most of the time when someone's doing something for personal gain and they realize you're not going and they're not going to gain off of you, they stop trying to do it. When somebody's doing something in malice, then they don't really care whether they're going to gain or not, or whether you're going to take it or whatever, and they're going to just take it to the max regardless. And those are the people you have to be the most aggressive with. Those are the people that you have to deal with the most. What's up, Natasha? I see you. Got the bird doing his thing. I see you. That's what's up. Appreciate you. Appreciate the love. All right. I got it. If we do 100 today, then I'm going to go story time. So let's see if we can get to 100 today. Stickers. Super chats. In this conflict resolution, people have been asking me about this a lot, so I'm going to talk about this along with conflict resolution. I'm going to talk about what to do and what not to do after a breakup. This is one of the most important times to use your conflict resolution skills. Normally after a breakup, this is when you're the most hurt, the most raw, and the most emotional. Even if it wasn't a real relationship or anything like that, it could just be a date situation gone wrong, or somebody not calling you back. Thank you, Cosmo. It could be a situation where somebody just, the date didn't go the way you wanted to, or people just ghosted you or something like that. This is when you really need to work on the conflict resolution skills, because emotions are hot in these type of moments. I don't care what anybody tells you. Nobody likes to feel rejected. Nobody likes to get dumped. Nobody likes to feel like somebody doesn't like them and doesn't want them, because normally what happens is when we get rejected by somebody, it fills in the blanks for all the bad things that we feel about ourselves. That's why rejection hurts so bad. Normally when you get rejected, it fills in all the gaps for all the bad things you already feel about yourself. So normally if you get rejected by somebody, like, damn, I knew I was boring. Damn, I knew I looked messed up in this outfit. Damn, I knew I was ugly. Damn. it starts filling in the gaps for a lot of the different things that you think about yourself. Man, I knew I was a nerd. Man, I knew I was a bad conversationalist. It starts filling in the gaps. And sometimes what happens when you get that rejection and it fills in those gaps, you start wanting to react emotionally. You either want to change your story or you want to hurt them as bad as they hurt you. Somebody may not have even done anything when they rejected you. They may just stop calling you or stop picking up the phone. And now you're like, the fact that you stopped calling me and stopped picking up the phone fills in all the gaps for all the things that I feel and all the hurt and pain and trauma from the past. And because you did that, F you. I gotta get back at you. I gotta hurt you as bad as you hurt me. And in those situations, you often find yourself really just going on a downward spiral where you only hurt yourself in the long run, or where you get deeper and deeper into that situation. Thank you, Shine. Okay, we'll go into that a little bit. How do you blossom as a person after high school? High school is weird. High school is weird because high school creates a weird environment where, in a lot of cases, you start feeling a certain type of way about yourself that really isn't true in the real world. Let me give an explanation. So say you're popping in high school, you're like a major high school athlete or head cheerleader or whatever the hell, where you just killing it in high school. That doesn't mean that those skills, that doesn't mean that what you are in high school is going to translate to the outside world. You have to become somebody new, basically, and you have to find a new foothold in the outside world. Well, the same is true if high school really wasn't very kind to you. Sometimes you just wasn't the coolest person in high school. Sometimes people didn't pay attention to you in high school. And because of that, it's created a reality in your mind where you think that's going to be the way the rest of your life is. So a lot of times what ends up happening is you carry some of those things from high school and you start believing that because nobody was fucking with you in high school, nobody's going to be messing with you in the outside world. Because you weren't the coolest person in high school, you're not going to be cool on your job, you're not going to be cool in college or anywhere else. And the reality is nothing could be further from the truth. Every time you go to a new stage in your life, you start over again. Every single time. So if you want to blossom after high school, the best way to go about that is understand that you are in a totally different world than you were when you were in high school. And you can be whatever you want to be. You don't have to wear the same clothes you wore in high school. You don't have to hang out with the same people you hung out with in high school. You don't have to be shy and nervous around the opposite sex just because you were that in high school. When you go to college, when you go to a new job, when you move to a new city, these people don't know you. And you are whoever or whatever you want to be. They don't know you. It's like when you're acting and you're on stage doing theater. They always tell you when you forget your lines to just go on because the audience doesn't know the freaking lines. If you go on like you were supposed to do that, the audience thinks that's what you're supposed to do. They don't know. When you want to blossom after high school, you have to improvise. You have to decide that you make the decision for who you are now. Maybe they told you was lame when you was in high school. Maybe you didn't have a lot of friends. Maybe you weren't the coolest person in high school. But now that you're not in high school anymore, you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself. You have the opportunity to work on everything that you felt was holding you back in high school. If you thought it was your physical appearance, if you thought it was the clothes you were wearing, if you thought it was just how you interacted with people, these are things that you can start working on and you can start taking control of. Don't let high school beat you. A lot of people got beat up so bad emotionally, sometimes even physically, in high school that they think this is who they are for the rest of their life. They think that 4 years determined every year after that. And the reality is it doesn't. Just like if you had a good high school career, that doesn't determine where you're going to be for the next 20 years. Now, I don't know, maybe you just got out of high school, but 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're going to start seeing a lot of people who was banging in high school who are serving you fries at McDonald's now. You know, that happens. People who are a little older can tell you that. So the opposite is true. You could have been lame as hell in high school. When you get out of high school, you can totally reinvent yourself and you can decide to be whoever the heck you want to be. Let's see what you got here, Cosmo. Do you think dating and love takes in the tone of the music created on the times? Yeah, I think art reflects life. When she said that, just in case y'all didn't get it, she was saying, do you think that love and relationships take on the tone of the music that's being created during that particular time period? I think it's cyclical. I think art imitates life and life imitates art. I think those two things go together. This is what I think happens. A lot of times you start believing certain things. You start thinking certain things because of what you hear. Like if you hear these hoes ain't loyal. Well, now when you go in a relationship, like say you're young, when you get into a relationship, you already got it in your mind, these hoes ain't loyal. When you sit there thinking all these men who cheat and to the left, and all this kind of stuff, when you get into a relationship, you start thinking, this is probably what I'm going to deal with in that relationship because it's all I'm hearing. So a lot of people, when you're young, when you 15, 16 years old, these kids nowadays, they're already hearing so many negative things about each other before they even get into relationships that they actually start believing that those are their experiences. It's kind of like when you have people in your household that tell you a lot of negative stuff about the opposite sex before you even get out there. Like you might have a mom or a dad that's like, oh, these men ain't shit. These women ain't nothing. All they do is lie and cheat and steal. And, you know, when you start thinking that, it almost works like racism. You know, people always like racism is taught. Well, a lot of the times negative interactions with the opposite sex are taught. They're taught, and they're taught on both sides. If you've been taught racism throughout your entire life, as soon as you see somebody of the other race, you're going to fill in the blanks about that person with what you've been taught. So they could be walking down the street minding their own business. They could be a freaking lawyer, and maybe they're a lawyer and they got dreads. You're like, oh, look at this thug. Look at this thug. Or they could be a lawyer and they could have a bald head. You're like, oh, this is a skinhead right here. This mug is racist and all this kind of stuff. People start thinking things like that on the regular, you know, and it's not really true in most cases. People start thinking this stuff, and this is why a lot of times the relationships start reflecting this behavior and this feeling. If you constantly hearing these hoes ain't loyal, bros before hoes, I got my girls, forget everybody else, it's just me and my friends. When you start hearing this type of thing over and over again throughout your entire life, just on a music tip, eventually you start feeling like it happened to you. If all you hearing is Keisha Cole talking about never knew what I was missing and, you know, I should have cheated on you and all this kind of stuff. If you hearing nothing but Mary J. Blige, yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy. You start feeling like that's what's going to happen. This is going to happen to me because this is what happens. And sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, you start feeling like it already did happen to you. When all you hear is negativity, you start feeling like it already did happen to you. Like it's people that never been cheated on a day in their life. That's like, yeah, man, all these women do is cheat. All these men do is cheat. You're like, oh, well, somebody cheated on you? No. What? How do you know that? You act like this is a personal experience, and you almost believe that it happened to you because of what you've heard over and over again. So yes, I do think music has a lot to do with the times, because then it becomes cyclical. Music influences how people feel, and what people feel happens in relationships. Then people go out there and they live that. Then they make more music about it. So it just becomes worse and worse as time goes on. It's kind of like gangster rap. You know, like it got worse and worse as time went on. At first it was like, yeah, you know, I'm a gangster. Then it was like, yeah, we'll go out here and beat you up. Then it was like, we'll shoot you. Now it's like, we'll shoot your whole block up. We'll rap on your grave after you die. You know, make little songs about it and whatnot. Like it's just one of those things where things just keep getting worse because it starts becoming more and more acceptable. It almost becomes like this is what you think is okay and what you think should happen. Think about the spread of this kind of thing. I want to go into this a little bit because I think that's a good question that even permeates out into other aspects of life. Think about the spread of gang culture and how much of it came from music. You got people in these little small towns that have no reason to have gangs, who are trying to be like people in big cities where the gang culture is prevalent. And most of it is because somebody told you over and over again that this is what you need to be and what you need to be about, and this is what the world is. So now you out here gang banging. And the same thing is true with relationships. People are like, I guess I'm supposed to be a player, whether I'm a woman or a man. I guess I'm supposed to sleep with everybody. I guess I'm supposed to be a freak for the world. This is what people learn. So then, the relationships get worse and worse and worse. Let's see what we got. Lulu, what's happening with you? Thank you, Chaz, for this useful info. Do you have advice on how to manage jealousy when your partner has children with another woman? Yeah. So if you're in a situation, this is what she said. She was like, how do you manage jealousy when your partner has children with another woman? A lot of times that's going to be an issue because let's be real. We got to always be real with ourselves. When we think about the fact that somebody else was with our partner before we were, a lot of times it becomes a little bit of jealousy if we think that they might interact with this person again, because even though you may not feel like they're real competition, sometimes you feel like, well, you already got a family with this person. Y'all already had kids and all this kind of stuff. It would be easy for you just to go back and be with that person again and try to create a family with them and your children. So I'm not just competing against them. I'm competing against them and kind of your kids. So, of course, that's going to give some twinges of jealousy. Now, what you got to think about when these type of things happen is this. That person that you're with is with you for a reason. Okay? They're with you for a reason. And no matter how upset or how jealous you get, that's not going to stop them from going over there to be with somebody else. So, jealousy, anger, frustration isn't going to make any difference. So whenever you start feeling like you are jealous or you start feeling like, man, they might leave, double down on the love. That's how you deal with stuff like that. Do like you would do in any other situation. If you feel like they're going to give somebody a promotion over you, you're not going to get mad at the boss. You're not going to get mad at the company. You're not gonna be like, duh, y'all better not give if you give her a promotion, I promise I'm gonna square up on y'all. That's not gonna work. What do? You double down on the work you do at the job, you double down on your education, you double down on improving yourself. This is how you deal with jealousy. Because jealousy pops up in every aspect of life. Jealousy pops up at work, jealousy pops up with your friends group, jealousy pops up with your family, your siblings. I mean, let's be real. When your sibling getting promotions and you've been stuck at the same job for 2 or 3 years, obviously it's going to hit you a little bit. Come on, we human. It's going to hit you a little bit. But then you got to say, okay, I can either take it out on my sibling, take it out on my family, take it out on myself, or I can start working on things that I can control. Maybe I didn't get that promotion, but I can improve my own life. When you're with somebody and you start feeling them little twinges of jealousy, Double down on improving you and double down on the love that you give them. That's going to make you feel like you have control and power over the situation. You're not going to show jealousy. You're just going to double down on the love. And if you do that, the ex will pretty much cancel herself out to where you don't have to worry about her anyway. If you get mad, if you start pushing him or pressuring him or letting that get to you on an emotional level, that's going to make it to where you pretty much hand the dude over to her. Most of the time, that's what happens in those situations. You know, whenever you're jealous or you show jealousy to the outside world, it makes people feel like the person you're with feel like that other person is competition to you. You can't make nobody feel like they're competition. You know what I mean? Because you don't want the other person feeling like that. You're like, hey, I'm above anything petty. That's what you want to make everybody feel like. Hey, I'm above anything petty. I don't care if y'all talk about y'all kid or whatever. That's cool. Hey, you want me to pick a kid up from school for you? Got it. Let me double down on the relationship that I have with these kids and our love. We're a family. I'm not really worried about this other person. I don't need to worry about them. That's a good question. Good one. We got anything else? Oh. What's up, Mariah? Hey, Chaz. I got back with my boyfriend following your advice from last week. I can tell he is still feeling a way about it and trying to get the upper hand. Dang it. Hold on. Okay. Maybe having an arrow on here to make it where I can't see. Okay, let's see where we at. Okay, I can tell he's feeling the way about it and trying to regain the upper hand. What to do? I've tried talking already. All right, look. Whenever you come out of a breakup, let me just give a restate for people who didn't get it. This was from a couple of weeks ago. I think a couple of weeks ago. She's got a boyfriend that they broke up over some different little communication stuff. Basically, she said he's trying to get the upper hand now that they've gotten back together. This happens all the time. This is when a person tries to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So they get back in a relationship with a person and then they start trying to get the upper hand after they get back in the relationship. That's what he's basically doing right now. And in this type of a situation, what you generally want to do is shut that down. And here's how you shut it down. When he starts trying to get the upper hand, you let that person know without words, but just your actions, that you are willing to walk away again. Most of the time, a person is going to say, you took me back, and because you took me back, I feel like now I have some power. All you have to do is ignore what they're doing to get the upper hand. I know it sounds crazy. So I'm going to give you an example. So say you hit the dude up on the phone and he's not answering the phone and you text him and he's taking forever to text you back and that kind of stuff, trying to get some type of upper hand on you. Instead of noticing that and getting upset about it, don't notice it at all. When he come back home, don't be like, why didn't you answer my phone calls? Just act like you didn't even notice it. Don't even act mad. Just call other people. Talk to other people. Have fun with your friends. And double down on you. So now you go out there and have a good time with your friends instead of calling him every 5 minutes or whatever, trying to just blow his phone up. Go have a good time with your friends and post it on Instagram. We out here. Now he's going to be like, oh, she's having fun without me. And he's going to be more likely to want to call you and make sure you're not having too much fun. This is how you get the upper hand on people, by not tripping. When y'all together, y'all chilling with each other, this is when you have a good time and make it fun. Then show him that you're not tripping. This shows him that you're not tripping. This is how you control that situation. Because when you're dealing with relationships and when you're dealing with a person, there's always going to be some type of conflict any person you get with. You know, this is how most people end up going from one relationship to another, and another, and another, and another. Every time they see a conflict, they be like, forget it. I'm giving up. But in this type of situation, you're learning how to get the upper hand in a situation where you actually care about the person. You wouldn't have came back if you didn't care. So in this type of situation, the way you deal with this dude is just ignoring some of his antics. Ignoring some of the things that this person is doing and having your own fun. What you'd be surprised is this will work on guys across the board. All you really got to do is just do you. People do this shit all the time. If you break up with anybody and get back together, there's going to be a balance of power like there was in the beginning of the relationship. You may not have noticed the balance of the power in the fight for balance of power in the beginning of a relationship because you were doing it. But when you get a breakup, a lot of times you start noticing it because now they're doing it. So all you got to do really is ignore that, double down on having a good time and doing your own thing. And normally the person will recognize the fact that you're not going to bow down, and they'll just go ahead and do what you want them to do. What else we got? Oh, what's up, Tish? How can you use being a gossip in a positive way? Well, it depends on what you're gossiping about. It depends on what you're gossiping about. If you're gossiping about negativity on a regular basis, it's going to be very hard to turn that into a positive. I'm just going to be real with you. But if you're gossiping about negativity sometimes, but positivity a lot also, you can turn that into a positive for yourself. Like, for instance, talk about that good things that people are accomplishing. You know, sometimes it's got to be a diet of the mind where maybe you like to talk about, you know, because a lot of times, let's be real, we like to get into the salacious. We like to get into some of the weeds and the negativity. I don't care who you are. If something happened to somebody, you probably want to tell somebody about it. Man, you hear what happened to old boy? Oh my God, this girl just left him. You know, this is human nature. But even if that's the case, make sure that you talk about just as much good as you do bad. Otherwise, people start thinking you're a hater. So if you want to keep it positive, spend weight. As a matter of fact, try to double it. If you're going to say something bad about somebody, make sure you say at least 2 good things about somebody first. Force yourself to do it. And that's how you'll start making it a positive. Because eventually you'll just be a person that's coming with good news. And people like that. People like bad news too. But you don't come off as a hater. All right, what else we got? We got any more questions? Okay, we're going to do another poll. Right now, Best Man is up by 69%. They got 69% of the vote. Best Man has won over The Wood. The Cosby Show versus Family Matters. That's what we're voting on. Cosby Show or Family Matters. I know Bill done had his troubles with the legal system. We're not going to trip off of that right now. We're just talking about the show, bro. We're just talking about the show. That we can't just take away from the whole Cosby Show. Look, this is something I'm going to say this. I don't like to get into political stuff too much, but I don't like when something happens and then we just got to lose something that was important to our culture. Just on a human level. I'm like, look, bro, a lot of people did a lot of stuff, you know, and they still on bills and got monuments and all that. So what Bill Cosby may have done or didn't do, they ain't got nothing to do with the Cosby Show. They ain't got nothing to do with Fat Albert. You know what I mean? I'm still watching it. You're not going to take away my childhood. I'm not going. And that's just me being real. No disrespect to anybody. You know, but for me, yeah. I watch the Cosby Show every week. So I'm not letting go. I can't do it. I can't do it. Heathcliff didn't do anything. Heathcliff is still America's dad. All right, we 50-50 Cosby Show and Family Matters right now. Let's go do some shout outs for the people who just recently came in. We got Laya in the building. V. Lee, what's happening with you? Mariah Beautiful. We got L.A. Peaches. Let's see. Tish. We got Cosmo Fire. We got Lulu. I already said you were already in here. Okay. Who else? If you in the building, say what's up. If you in the building, say what's up. We give you a shout out. Show some love. Cosby Show is up 60%. Oh, we fighting it out. Look like they starting to fight it out. So we're going to go back to conflict resolution when dealing with breakups. Also got a really good masterclass y'all want to check out. It's about breakups. Cold-hearted game. This is how to deal with an ex after a breakup, how to get somebody back if you want them back, or just how to deal with the situation after a breakup. Cold-hearted game. Check that out go to ChazzEllis.com. Check that out. That masterclass is now $9.99 down from, I think it was $29.99 or something. So you might want to check that out. Okay, well, I'm going to be talking about what you do during a breakup. Now, like I said, it could be a breakup from a real serious relationship. It could be somebody ghosting you after a date. It could be being pushed into the friend zone, friends with benefit zone, any of these type of things. When these things happen, normally they cause us to fill in the blanks for what we already feel about ourselves. So if we felt kind of bad about ourselves for whatever reason, or we felt something was wrong, now we out here like, man, this person's pretty much confirming what I already knew. That's right, it is cutthroat, that cold-hearted game. Hey, look, I'm not here to give y'all moral advice. I'm not here to tell y'all what type of person you want to be or nothing like that. I'm here to give y'all straight up game strategy. That's what I do. All right, the rest of that, you got to go to your preacher, your guidance counselor, your mama, whoever. I don't know. That ain't me. So when you break up with somebody or you feel hurt or rejected by a situation, the natural thing to do is to want to hurt somebody or to reach out and try to change your story. You either try to get back at the person like, oh, I'm going to do something to them, or you almost end up begging because you want to change your story. Most of the time, we don't want to accept the fact that we got dumped. We don't want to accept the fact that we got played. We don't want to accept the fact that we've been lied to. We don't want to accept the fact that somebody wasn't feeling us. What's up to Mia Laura? What's up, Organic Tresses? I see you. We don't want to accept certain things a lot of times. So we often try to change our story. Most of the time when we do that, we just end up begging. When you end up trying to change your story, it's like, I don't want to accept the fact that you dumped me. I don't want to accept the fact that you ghosted me. I don't want to accept the fact that you just wasn't feeling me. I don't want to accept the fact that you put me in the friend zone. I don't want to accept any of those things. And because of that, I am going to do whatever it takes to change my story. My story may be that you did dump me, that you did put me in the friend zone, that you did stop talking to me for whatever reason. And in order to change my story, I may have to do whatever it takes. I may start begging, calling you over and over again, just totally laying down whatever morals and self-worth I have. I may be willing to do any of that simply because I want to change my story. This is something you got to look out for whenever you feel rejected, because this is an issue that happens. So how do you deal with that? When you feel rejected, first thing you got to do is woosah, because a lot of times it ain't about you. Maybe they didn't find you attractive, but that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. That means they personally didn't find you attractive. Everybody's ugly to somebody. Maybe they didn't think you were that cool. That doesn't mean that that's how everybody feels about you. Maybe they wasn't feeling you like that. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that that's how everybody feels. So once you can accept that, a lot of times it makes it way easier to just move on past these situations. When somebody ghosts you, instead of being like, man, I got to hurt this person, or man, I got to change my story and get that person to want me to do, or want to get back with me, or want to talk to me. Instead of feeling like that, sometimes you can just say, you know what? I accept the fact that you ghosted me. I'm cool with it. I'm going to move on to the next. If I do feel a little insecure, I'm going to work on my insecurities. I'm not going to make it about you. I'm going to work on things that I feel may cause people to ghost me. A lot of times if you take a proactive stance on things, you don't feel powerless anymore, and you don't feel the need to lash out, and you don't feel the need to beg. When you're not really doing that, that's when you generally do feel the need to do one of those things. All right, let's see if we can get some stickers out, or we can get some of these super chats. Super chat is in the lower right hand corner, cash symbol, and the stickers are the happy face that's also in the lower right hand corner. Hit me with a couple of those. Whatever questions you have. When we come out of here, make sure y'all get that cold-hearted game. I'm gonna do it for the half off today, so y'all can get those for $5. Check out that cold-hearted game. You can get these videos for $5. I've already got them on sale, but since you come to the live stream, I'm gonna hook you up even more. Don't say I never show love. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all a few more minutes if anybody does want to ask questions. For those of you who got Cold Hearted Game already, I'm gonna put everything on I'm gonna give a $5 coupon. Make sure you use it today because it expires after 24 hours. So for those of you who already got Cold Hearted Game, you might want to check out how to get them to chase you. That's a good one for if you're looking for like that serious game where you're really gonna learn a whole lot about just how to move. Mastering Attraction is also a really good one too for that. Let's see what else we got. Do we have any more questions for me? If not, I'm going to get on out of here. There goes the coupon right there for some of y'all that didn't have it yet. If we do make it to 100, that's $49 more. Then I'm going to do a story time to give y'all a little bit of game about when knowing your worth goes wrong. This is a story about when I was an actor, finding out that knowing your worth can certainly go wrong. Oh, you're welcome, Lulu. Appreciate you, LA Peaches. Cosby Show over Family Matters, 55%. Y'all wasn't feeling Steve Urkel as much. Everybody in the comment section, put your favorite Cosby Show character. Who's the person you like the most? I just want to see who's the person you like the most. What's up, Ebony? What's up, Love with 2 E's? Is that Lovey? I don't be knowing. Let's see. I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick a random question too. Yeah, we'll do that and then I'll get off with that. Let me see. What's a good test to see if I can trust my new boyfriend? That's Laya. What's a test to see if I can trust my new boyfriend? I'm gonna be real with you. Whenever you try to test people to see if you can trust them, that almost always backfires. Almost 100% of the time. The reality is trust is really, it works off of two things. If you're gonna deal with somebody, you have to have a certain level of trust for them right out the gate. If people always say, "Oh, trust is earned" and all that. Look, if you're going to spend your time and energy with somebody, you have to think the best of that person until they give you reason not to. Does that mean you're going to get hurt sometimes? Yeah, but at least you actually have an opportunity to find love because you're open. So I say, as far as giving people tests, most of the time is going to test that person and going to tell you a lot about them. So have experiences with the person, talk to the person, spend time with the person, and start intertwining yourself with the person more. That way you really understand what they're about, because any other type of test that you try to do are always going to be like setups that cause the situation to go left sometimes when it's new. You don't really want to put obstacles in your way in a new situation, because I'm going to keep it real with you. You can't trust somebody as much in the first 2 weeks as you can in 15 to 20 years. So a lot of times what people will do is they'll put up these tests for somebody like, "Oh, I want to see if he'll talk to somebody else. Let me make a fake profile." And y'all only been talking for 2 weeks, or y'all been talking for a couple months or whatever, and you do something like that. Maybe they will talk to somebody in that time, but maybe it wouldn't have come up. And if y'all would have had a couple years in, they wouldn't feel that way anymore. Now y'all have a real solid relationship. So a lot of times people do this. I was talking to one of my homeboys one time, and he was like, "Man, I had to test my girl to see if she would talk to somebody else." And I was like, "Oh, really?" "Yeah, bruh." And this man just started talking to this girl like a week before. Like, "Yeah, we just now started." I'm like, "Bruh, y'all don't even have a real relationship to know what she would do if y'all were actually together. You don't have a real relationship yet." So I'm just saying, I don't know how long your relationship has been going, but most of the time, experiences, just like with friendships, that will test, the situation and see what the dude is really about. Yeah, I can talk about staying committed on one of these lives. You talking about just staying committed to a relationship or staying committed to life in general, or and we can talk about both actually. I'm gonna y'all give me some little suggestions for what y'all like for a live. So we got staying committed. We can put some of that on a live. And I usually read these comments to kind of get an idea of what y'all want to see. Okay, you want to talk about being committed in life and relationships. That's big, man. Commitment is really about seeing whether or not something is worth it. And once it's worth it, saying, hey, I'm not going to stop, really, no matter what. The reason why most people are not committed in relationships is because most of the time in relationships, people have already decided a bunch of stuff that they will give up on the relationship for before they even get into it. People already got in their mind all the stuff that they would break up over. Because most of the time you've been in a bunch of relationships already. And now when you get into a new relationship, and now that you get into a new relationship, you're sitting over like, man, I already know if this happened, I'm out. I already know if that happens, I'm out. And that's a lot of times that's what happens in life. You might think about, this is what I want to do going forward. Like, for instance, say you might go, man, I'm about to get in shape. But as soon as you have a bad week and you eat something you ain't supposed to eat, or you miss a couple of days at the gym or whatever, now it's like, forget it. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing. This is why relationships don't work over a long period of time. This is why friendships don't work over a long period of time. This is why businesses don't work over a long period of time. It's kind of the same type of situation. So ultimately, what most people will do is they'll get involved in something, but they won't have a plan to stay put. They won't have a plan to keep working it. They won't say, hey, if this is worth it to me, then I'm not just going to give up at the first sign of trouble. If you look at most breakups and most relationships, most of the time is a carryover from the last relationship. It's like, man, the last relationship, so-and-so did this, and this, and I just kept taking it. Then they'll get into a new relationship and they're like, I see signs of this other stuff, I'm out. And then it'll be like over and over and over again where a person will keep on just bailing out of relationships. That's why I talk a lot about sticking it out and working through your issues with people. That way you're not just going from relationship to relationship to relationship, thinking one day you're going to find somebody perfect. It doesn't work like that. You're not going to find somebody perfect because you're not perfect. So if you found somebody who seems perfect, they must have bad judgment to get with your ass. Just being real. At the end of the day, you're going to have to put up with something. No matter who you get with, you're going to have to put up with something. Or you're going to be single. Just like you put up with something so you can be friends with people. Just like you put up with something so you can have your family members around. Just like you put up with something so that you can work at your job. You know good and well you probably don't like getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to that job. But you like that paycheck. You like that paycheck. And that's a big thing. So you got to decide. Like Cosmo Fire just asked, how do you determine if it's worth it in the beginning? You got to determine if you like that person enough to get to know whether it's worth it. And you also got to determine whether or not you want to be in a relationship. Do you want to be in a relationship? Is this person that I met the person that I'm looking for? Is it worth it? Is that worth it? If it's not the case and you don't feel like it's worth it, then, keep it moving. But if you feel like it's worth it, then you can't say this happened, so it's not worth it anymore. Oh, well, they left the cereal box open. I'm tired of this stuff. Oh, they left their socks on the floor. Oh, we argued this one time, so I'm done with this situation. Because then you're gonna remember, man, I did want to have somebody, and I did want to be in a relationship, and they seem cool, and they seem like somebody I wanted to be with. But I squandered that over something small. Now I got to start all over again. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all. Eventually, what you usually end up doing is settling for somebody that's so far below what you could have got. Once you get your back against the wall, because you done dumped so many people, you done walked away from so many relationships, you done said, "Oh, I'll forget this," you know, you bite your fingernails, I'm gone. You done that so many times to the point where the pool is so small that now you out here putting up with anything just because you don't want to die alone. I'm being real with you. So if you want to be in a relationship, you got to treat it like you would a job. Hey, would I quit a job over something small? No, because that's my paycheck. Would I quit dealing with my family over something small? Probably not, because it's my family. If you're going to be in a relationship with somebody and you decided that this is the person you want, everything about them is something that I care about and I love, this is what I'm looking for, then that means that you're going to have to do the things that you need to do and make the adjustments that you need to make for it to work. Period. Let's go into what Cosmo was saying down here real quick. She said, for me, I can see the benefits of my job off top. So when it gets hard, I have the security to keep me on the team. Romantic relationships, I can't see the benefit at the beginning. Well, that's a part of the way we grow up and the way we're raised. A lot of times we're raised to be wage slaves, where we don't care as much about our personal life as we do our business and our job. See, what they do is they give you this thing called instant gratification. So you go to work and they give you a reward, which is a paycheck. Boom, you get that automatically. So then you start feeling like this job that I have is the most important thing in the world to me. You look at relationships, you immediately cannot see the benefit of a relationship because nobody circled the benefit for you. But clearly you're in a relationship for a reason. So you may not look at the benefit as, hey, now I got somebody to talk to. And you're also not looking for the long-term benefit. You're probably not thinking, wait a minute, what am I going to do when the beach party is over and I'm 75 years old? Most people don't think like that because we look for short-term gratification. We don't look at it like I'm building a relationship that's going to keep paying off over the next 30, 40, 50 years. This is when it's going to be the most valuable to me. Look, it's real easy to say I don't care about having a relationship because I'm young and I'm free and I'm healthy and I can go places and I can do stuff. But nobody wants to be the 65, 70-year-old person in the club. Nobody thinks that's going to be them. Nobody thinks they're going to be the person at the nursing home by themselves. When I was a police officer, we used to deal with situations like alarm calls where people would fall and they would have no grandkids. They would have nobody in the house. They'd have no children and they just be all by themselves. You know, and people don't think about that while they're going through relationships. People don't think about that when they say, man, this relationship has no real value. A lot of times, sometimes if you're in a relationship and you don't see any value, it may be just the way y'all operating in the relationship. But you got to give credit to the value of just having somebody to talk to, having somebody there to watch your favorite shows with. You know, the same value you would say a friend has. You know, a lot of times our friends ain't really doing nothing special for us. They ain't giving us no money. They ain't paying our bills. But we still friends with them. A lot of times you get into relationships with people and you don't see the value of just somebody being there, having the same person to sleep with over and over again, rather than have to go out in these streets and play craps with your genitals. I'm just saying. That's something. That's a value in a relationship. You know, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. Like we look at our relationships and we like, you know, I'm not necessarily getting anything out of it, but a check is obvious. Like, yo, this is the money I'm getting. But sometimes when we look at relationships, we don't just break down everything and go, you know what? Yeah, this is better than being single. This is better than being by myself. That's why I got into this relationship in the first place. So what else we got? We got any more questions? Are we out? All right. Well, thank y'all for coming out tonight. Once again, it's your man ChazzEllis. Make sure you use that coupon that I just gave y'all. Go to ChazzEllis.com. Check out Cold Hearted Game. Check out how to get them to chase you. If you don't have the inspirational bundle, make sure you get that inspirational bundle because I got all the inspiration. If you've been going through some things, you know, family members getting on your nerves, you've been struggling financially, you're getting over sickness, any of that. If you got any of those issues, I want y'all to go ahead and get that inspirational bundle also. All right, it's your man ChazzEllis. Make sure y'all like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with somebody else. Peace.